Thank you,
Hi.
Josh. I'm Daniel Silva. I'm here with two friends, Juha from Garmin and Steven. Before we jump into the session, thank you all for being here at the summit. Please, guys, introduce yourself.
Go ahead, Stefan.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me on the summit, and very nice meeting you, Juha. I'm Stefan Zillner. I am a business development consultant. I've been in the fitness industry for the past 20 years, and I help fit tech companies to expand internationally through B2B partnerships, and that leads to sales and gives them access to new buyer markets, as well as all sorts of collaborations and partnerships.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi Daniel, hi Stefan. My name is Juha. I'm from Garmin, as said, and based here in Munich, in Germany. But I'm basically heading our institutional business in our emerging markets, which is East Europe, the Middle East, Central Asia, and North Africa. And institutional at Garmin means basically everything else than retail. And for us, it's both the digital health partnerships, digital sports, fitness, and all this ecosystem is the topics I work with. So thanks for having me.
So we're gonna start tackling the very, very first question here, and I think I have two amazing guys to go against it. We're just coming out of COVID, hopefully, and we saw the traditional brick and mortar business, the gyms suffering from COVID, restrictions. People couldn't go to the gym. They still had the desire to train, to exercise. It was super important. And then companies like Peloton, Zwift, they just went gigantic, right? Guys, what's your take? Is like do yourself at home the future of health exercise, or you guys going to see the gymnasium coming back?
Well, if I can, just as a hardware manufacturer, if I take a shot on this first. Just to the background, of course, we saw that as well. I think all public information, but Garmin had the best ever results 2020, and even this year is growing quickly because people started to value their active lifestyle and be more interested in fitness and such. And they started running and cycling because they couldn't go to the gym. So this is our take from that. So, but what we also saw that perhaps it's like Netflix and going to movies, or sitting in a home office, or going to the office. It's the same stuff. And so we can see that from our side that we have many innovative, traditional gyms and fitness chains who were forced to change to hybrid offerings, like remote offerings, remote coaching, virtual coaching, and such, combining them with our devices, for instance. So they are going to be there, but just the mode is changing, and they are not going to vanish anywhere. Maybe this all just raised the bar to the offering a little bit. But people still want to go to movies. They still want to see people. So I believe there's definitely a future for them as well.
Interesting. Steven, what's your take?
Well, I would say in general, we're living in really exciting times, right? Like you can look at the different studies that are prognosing big growth all around health and wellness. And it's just an interesting ride how technology changes now every single aspect of our lives. I really like to come from, let's say, a human-centric perspective, saying, how can I seamlessly manage my own health so that it serves me with information to make good decisions for my future, for being stronger, for being healthier. And I think it's about, if you're a gym, it's about the understanding that the consumer will choose, right? Do I want to do this at home? Do I want to do this outdoors? Do I want to go to a gym, do a class? I think it'll all remain, but the way you structure your offering will change. And there are certain, let's say, trends that will kind of change or are already changing the marketplace. And I think there's some major trends out there. by the way, I'm also an advisor to the FitTech company, and we had Juha also on one of our last summits with Garmin, and we had some of those trends there. And I'll just name a few. If it's gamification, if it's tokenization, where the whole blockchain, the whole fitness verse and metaverse can come in. There's a lot of things going on, but in general, I would say being human-centric and thinking about how I can seamlessly help and integrate technology will be a key issue for any gym operator in the future.
Awesome.
Maybe if I can add something to that, just one. Yeah, that's true. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that we sort of, as a Garmin, we are raising the bar, and the whole FitTech industry is raising the bar for the gyms, because during the pandemic, people, the health awareness and fitness awareness of people was raising all the time. So they were, more interested in their health and fitness, perhaps, and there are more and more tools for them to understand their own body and fitness levels or health metrics, and people coming now, more and more people with this awareness. This is new target groups, new customers for the gyms as well. So providing this, as Stefan mentioned, sort of offering, like if it's a hybrid offering, people coming up with more knowledge about their health or fitness coming to the gym. So that's a new kind of skills that are needed, new kind of offerings are needed. And also in other industries or segments, there's this, I call it between the elections syndrome, because if you go to a gym once or twice or 3 times a week, what happens between those 2 days or 3 days you're not in the gym? So as a Garmin, we like to fill that gap between the elections. So this is the new synergies that are developing here now, and the gyms are forced to utilize that as well to complete the offering.
Absolutely. I agree with both of you guys. I do see the trend that equipment moving into the homes as a real thing, but I also see like more people embracing a better, more sustainable, healthier lifestyle. So it's gonna be interesting how it's going to play it out here. But you guys mentioned, especially Juha with his role at Garmin, and Steven talking about gamification, blockchain, and everything. Data has been around the business world for quite a while. The data is more expensive than oil, or it's the future, and such and such. And as an Ironman myself, I've done 4 Ironman races, and I have a Garmin. So my entire training is built around the data that Garmin provides to me, right? I'm currently trying to figure out what's the best gadget to hack my sleep. I want to know how to hack my nutrition and such and such. So the market penetration is already happening towards hardware integrated with data, where human-centric, you can use the platform. So Juha, how do you see the space? Like how different it is today from 5 years ago, and how much different it's going to be 5 years from now?
Oh, if I would know that, I wouldn't tell that. But so the question was.
What's your hint?
Sorry. So you mean the meaning of data, or relevance of data?
The relevance of data, I think. How the relationship between user and gadgets, bringing out data, real-time reports. How's that changing the exercise landscape? Yeah,
that's a good. I used to work a lot in more on the health side of this digital spectrum, and now also more on the fitness and sports side. So I think in all of these spectrums, data, the meaning of data has been increasing all the time. The more digital our society is getting, more digital healthcare is getting, and as we discussed the gyms and the hybrid offerings, it's data is everywhere. And you as a triathlete, basically you are a professional in this sense. You know how to improve your performance, what you need. But in the last 5 years, actually, I've been at Garmin about roughly 5 years, so I can compare that pretty well. But from our point of view, obviously there are more and more sensors, more and more accurate sensors, but the key difference is that how we are customizing that data for personal insights for people, how to make it understandable for people, because the masses of data for many people, perhaps not for you as a triathlete, it's you understand that the metrics you want to get accurate metrics, but many people don't understand what a stress index means, or a VO2 max means, or what even a resting heart rate means. So I think that how we are trying to work on this, by the way, relating to this, is that 2 years ago we acquired a company called First Beat Analytics, and this is for our way to improve the metrics and features and insights for our customers, to make the data available and understandable. And that's what's going to happen also in the next years, because we are not there yet. So this industry needs to make the contextualize that data, the health, the fitness, and the performance data. And we try to make it easier for people to use it. We try to make recommendations how they can improve them. We try to mix them. We have a feature called Body Battery, which is taking the stress index, sleep, activity, and such things together, make it more understandable, more relevant for people. So to summarize, the data issue is, of course, there will be new gadgets and new sensors and that, but I think we have lots of work. The whole industry has lots of work to do to make it contextual and more understandable, more relevant for people. So I think that's also for the coming years to come a big task for all of us.
Amazing. And that's going to lead me to my question to Stephen. I gave my example as an amateur athlete, and very towards the end, he said, an education gap, what actually means, how do you make a use of that? Do you think those gadgets, this technology, do you think they're going to have a faster penetration in the professional sports? Do you think the professional sports will embrace this new technology and everything in a different way?
It's a really good question, Daniel, but let me also make one remark on yours point. I think that one thing that I wanted to add is very well explained how important it is to actually explain data to people so that they know what to do with it. But I think another important point as well is the collaboration. It's creating ecosystems and companies that work together across different brands, across products, across environments. And I think that this new spirit of collaboration is already seen, and it can tie into the next question as well. It doesn't matter if it's athletes investing in fit tech companies, whether it's Garmin working with some major operations, major gym owners, gym chains, and others. Because when I think from an end consumer, I don't necessarily want to have 5 different apps telling me similar things, and then I need to try to figure out how this all ties into me, reaching my goals, being healthier, going someplace. But the more these, let's say, different apps work together, or the more it's integrated, it just makes it easier, and it will have more people really actually not just download the app, but really start using it. This is simple for a wearable, but I think it also really has to do with whether you can be part of an ecosystem where those things are more and more integrated. So that is a big trend in the industry. And then coming more towards your question, Daniel, I think that historically speaking, a lot of the times new technology has been evolved or even invented for athletes a lot of the time. Let's take Hyperice as an example for recovery. They started working with the athletes first, and then Hyperice, Theragun, they kind of created a trend where more and more people were looking at what the athletes were doing. But now recovery is like a worldwide trend across all borders, right? It's not for the top athlete anymore. I think very often it starts there. Certain technology in the beginning might be very expensive and really be more targeted towards athletes. I work for Climber, which is also a new connected fitness brand on the market using the climbing modality, and that's another good example. We are always saying this machine is for everyone. Of course, anyone who knew about the climbing modality, be it our investors, Novak Djokovic, or other top level athletes. They've always known how amazing that modality is, but Climber is actually the first ones to bring this to the end consumer, just also to be healthier. And it really depends then how you use the product, but it's around the end consumer, creating an immersive customer experience and giving them the possibility to live healthier with an upright movement there that isn't hard on your joints or anything like that. So I think that what happened is a lot of technology nowadays is directly targeting the broad mass market and is not specifically only done for top athletes anymore.
Interesting.
I want to add to this. First of all, coming back to the data and Stefan's a comment on the ecosystem, that's exactly right. So I want to highlight it also. So it's data and contextual data, understandable data. And that's, I think Garmin is the only company of the big ones who doesn't have any own services to, for instance, to professional teams or anyone. We focus on the hardware and the best sensors and features on them, but then we have an open ecosystem, so different kinds of interfaces and SDKs for third-party companies to use that data. I think that's the key element here. I really agree with Stefan. So I think that's meaning of data for an individual, but the use of that data with the ecosystem is I think at least as important as the data as such. And just today, occasionally there's a company called Self Loops. It's a group workout solution for gyms and having a real-time monitoring function with our interface. So it was today we opened that in the first gym with that ecosystem partnership in Turkey. So it's really one of the key issues here. If I can also add to the athletes one, you as an amateur triathlete and the professional athletes, actually that's where Garmin comes from. So most of the athletes or cyclists, or they know Garmin already because you use our Forerunner or you use our cycling products. But then, as Stefan also mentioned, this also for us, it's a bigger challenge to get the rest of the population to use that knowledge that the athletes already have, and how to move that offering towards the larger populations also.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Daniel, sorry, maybe to add one more thing, because it really fits into there. I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but Climber has also just announced our partnership with UFC. So we are very much into tying our modality into athlete training, and we're actually developing content with those MMA fighters. But one big reason we're also doing that is because these athletes get hurt a lot, they have a lot of injuries, and they really appreciate having a new modality there that is very low impact. But at the same time, that's also true for anyone who had some knee issues, a surgery, a hip replacement. So it is yes, it is athletes, but at the same time, it's always also mass market.
Awesome. I was gonna make a comment, guys. Throughout your comments, you guys said user-centric a couple times here, right? And it's well known that one of the biggest challenge for startups tackling amateur athletes is engagement. People buy the watch, people install the app, they create an account, they use once and twice, and they go away. And I'm assuming that that's a correlation in many other gadgets and software. So, and one way to solve is gamification. Steven briefly talked about gamification here. I use Strava for my running, so I get my data from Garmin, throw into Strava, see how my friends are doing, how am I doing against them, and I do the same with Zwift with my cycling training. So, is gamification a good approach to solve people eventually leaving the app and abandon like a healthier lifestyle? do you guys think that create an environment where they can compete against themselves and other people, that's something that can drive engagement?
So if engage, well, yes, gamification is one aspect, and I'm sort of in that's, if I even can say that, working for a company like Garmin, but maybe I'm a too old school guy. Gamification is, and personally, I believe in gamification or engagement or activation, motivation of the user in this hybrid world where you have a sort of a, like you are cycling or you're running, but at the same time you have your work, sort of your social network following you. You compare that, but it has a real life center in that. So I think that is always one key part of engagement, of gamification of fit tech. And I personally believe that can never, if you talk about sports or fitness, it's just digital gamification cannot replace the real life human interface, and that's a challenge for us, how to combine that. And obviously, of course, we also you're using Strava with Garmin data on Strava, and there are many other platforms that use our data or use users who do that. So that's a good example. Like even if you go to corporate wellness or other type of wellness related stuff, gamification is a key thing here. They just turn our data into some kind of a motivating stuff, but there's always some kind of a human interface. And I think that's a challenge for, if you're talking about gyms or any fit tech, I think that's an interesting challenge, and it's an important task for us to combine that element into engagement and gamification.
Yeah, that's a really good point. From my point of view, I think there's maybe two sides to this. A lot of the times people might think about the gaming industry, and in terms of gamification, maybe just appealing to a younger crowd. But I believe that's only one side of the medal. I think gamification speaks to everyone in a way that, everyone has been a child, and there's a child in everyone. And I think that most people enjoy playing games of some sort. So this is kind of a possibility to get some intrinsic motivation for workouts, because we tend to forget sometimes in the fitness industry that we're not just there for the 20% who are already relatively fit and want to just find new modalities, but we're having this huge amazing task to hopefully get more people move more, to be healthier. A lot of them may be doing sports for the first time, and I think, yes, on the one side, and to give a good example, this is where blockchain and the metaverse or the fitnessverse or fitverse, how they call it as well now, can be exciting as well. So there's a company called Olive X, and we had them also on the last Fit Tech Summit, and the CEO Keith really explained to me personally also for the first time I understood, okay, this is not just a gimmick. It is something where you can get gamers. They have a game called Zombie Run. Maybe I need to explain that a bit. Kind of a higher end version of Pokemon Go for adults as well, right? And where you actually go out for your run, and then you kind of are in this post-apocalyptic world, and you get these messages over your headset that there's some zombies behind you, and you should run a little bit faster. And so it's very playful. And then you collect even things like NFTs who can have a value then in the metaverse, and you can do stuff with that. So that part maybe sounds a bit futuristic still, and for many of us, and that does aim to get more people away from the game console at home to go outdoors, right? And use gamification as a motivational factor. But at the same time, there's also companies like Spheri, for example, that are used a lot in rehab and with senior, or elderly people that have a lot of fun, like doing simple movements, touching things on the screen and on the side screens. And yeah, even in terms of it's used for like Parkinson or MS patients or other people. It gives you cues to your brain, which allows you to move more comprehensively and improve. So there's so many different levels. I would say gamification in general is just for me an amazing thing, because I'm originally very passionate in sports like snowboarding, kite surfing, beach volleyball. All these sports have one denominator, that you have a lot of intrinsic motivation. You can go into a state of flow and you don't even realize that you're working out, right? While a lot of maybe normal fitness workouts can become a bit boring unless you're really a fitness enthusiast. So gamification can really help to make this more fun. And in the end of the day, you do something for your health, but what you really do is you enjoy the moment, or you enjoy the experience. And to close out on the climber note there, because that is again, a good example for classic fit tech equipment. The way we do gamification is we're working, for example, with badges. So let's say instead of you trying to just climb 5,000 feet, you can earn a badge once you have climbed the equivalent of Mount Everest. You would receive the Mount Everest badge. It's just a really simple example, right? But
Yeah.
There's so many ways how you can, it's not just talking to a population of gamers. If that makes sense.
Awesome.
I agree that if I may, we're
Go
still
ahead,
on
all
time.
yours.
So just what it's. I agree, Stefan, and especially you mentioned sort of these people with certain conditions having sort of like, well, let's take obesity or certain risk groups. It's important to have some kind of a motivation to something, sort of trying to reach that behavioral change of here. But if we are talking about fitness and sports, the question always behind these nice gimmicks applications is, how sustainable is that then? So that's why I sort of always, combination with the post-apocalyptic work, which can be nice for a week or two. It can be nice for some people for a longer time, but I still believe that the key combination here is how do you connect that with the real world, real people? Because otherwise, they are not so much proof of that of that being sustainable. How many people stay there? You just have a look at apps in any kind. After 2 weeks, the usage of the apps drop. And then in this space, in fitness, sports, or health, you have to have some kind of a sustainable connection with the real world. Would it be the brick and mortar gyms, or the real coach somewhere, the social group that you meet, and so yes, gamification. We also have badges which are extremely popular. You can create your own challenges in Garmin Connect, but still it's based on the real life activity and real people. So I think I would hope as a sports enthusiast that the industry will find better ways to combine those worlds and sort of really focus on stuff that works, not only but yes, the post-apocalyptic work, it's great one to reach some part of the target group, indeed.
Awesome. Hey guys, we're coming to an end here. So last question, and it has been my pleasure chatting with you guys. Steven is a Bible, knows everything that's going on in the industry. So, make sure you follow him on LinkedIn. And I'm gonna coach you. Find a better way, right? So what's your take on the future of the industry? Like, where are we heading? What's the better way coming up?
Are you saying like for the future of the fitness industry, or sorry, can you specify that a little bit?
No, yeah, absolutely. I've seen, we talk about one trend, like the equipment moving into people's home, right? And then we also talked about the need to maintain this community, to get together, to be outdoors. We all agree here that being healthier is a major trend worldwide, right? So what's the future for technology in the sports space? Like, we are going to continue to bring out gadgets so we can metrify everything that we're doing? Are we gonna move into a direction that every single amateur athlete can train and recover as a super athlete? Where is he heading?
Well,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, that's a really good question. Well, I'm speaking more for the fit tech industry, I would say, right? That's the field where I'm at home. But I would just say that talking about all the technology and integration, gamification, and all these things, I think in the end of the day, it's all about personal interaction and human connection. So that's not going anywhere. So I just think that rather than, sometimes you can read articles that are very much poignant in one direction or the other. Is it home fitness, all about home fitness now? Everyone's now doing Peloton and Miro and Climber and Tonal versus, back to the gyms. So I just really think that the whole integration and making sense of technology, right? Like, because when we're not looking at Gen Z and the real young people, for them it's not a big deal. But I think that a big part of the population, technology might also be a little bit scary at times. And I think it's about using the technology to make interaction better, right? To give choices to people, and then it's up to people. Like you said, it's great to have a gadget, but if after 2 weeks no one's using it, then it's more like a nice idea. It's not something that helps to change behavior. And I think I would say the future is that the industry should come more and more together, right? This summit is a good example. The FitTech summits we organize are great examples for more interaction and more collaboration. How to bring technology towards people to help them solve health issues, to live healthier. And you can do this like Apple does, maybe in their own ecosystem, or you can do this by joining existing other ecosystems. And I do really believe in this spirit of collaboration. And I know Garmin has a lot of integration with other companies as well, be it equipment companies and other things, and gyms. So I think working together is, instead of thinking, oh, is it at home fitness versus gym operators? We have a big opportunity here to reach a lot more than the 20% that are already in quite good shape. And I think the spirit of collaboration is the way to go.
Yeah, this is a $1 million question, Daniel. Thank you. We are a public company, so we got it's personally, I think for more than 10 years, I think my dream has been that there will be more and more people who really value and understand the importance of health and fitness for themselves. So and we as an industry, we have a lot of things to do that. We have to we have to increase the awareness. We have to tell about the opportunities and to make it easily understandable how they can start doing something. So data will get better, and the integrations and the ecosystem is key. But I think for me personally, yesterday evening I went running, and I'm lucky enough to have the only German bank with Garmin Pay. So I ran to the local grocery store, bought a papaya, and run back. So this was a sort of a real-time integration of me going out, running to a shop, and paying with my shirt. Basically, fitness and this all everyday life are integrating in the same spot. So we have years to come to work so that people don't even understand that they're actually doing sports, and many other things are integrated in that. So there will be many unnecessary apps and many unnecessary features and many unnecessary gadgets. But I hope that the years to come we will learn, the industry will learn, we as a Garmin will learn, that the companies Stefan mentioned will learn. And I hope that we will keep the people and the human interface in the center, and just bring more and more, maybe in the smaller steps, bring these fitness and health related offerings into our everyday life. And that's a very abstract summary, but that's where I hope the technology will lead us. And that just buying a papaya with your running watch during running, it's just one very simple example, but maybe there's more to come in the future. So that's my dream for the next 5 years or so.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for taking part of this. And Josh, I give back to you. Thank you.